Greetings and welcome back to Custom Card Coverage, where we look at the different custom cards from across the online Hearthstone community to judge new and creative effects. Today we'll be looking at one of the simpler ways that cards can become varied and flexible, the Druid's Choose One effect. One of the more interesting ways to improve a card's flexibility is to have it capable of doing multiple things. For example, Elven Archer can do 1 damage to any minion, including your own or to your opponent's face. The Choose One effect is unique in this regard, in that it is, in a way, 2 different cards. You can use the first of these cards to do one thing, or you can use the second to do another. You are literally choosing one card from a set of 2, and playing it immediately. Worgen cards have nothing on this, since RNG chooses which card ends up being played based on the turn. A proper Choose One card offers up the flexibility to be either effect. Sometimes one of the choices is stronger than the other, but that does not prevent the other form the card can take from being useful. Of course, an effect like this that has been around since the Classic set has undergone a few unique alterations. For example, Branching Paths is a card that uses Choose Twice, which changes it from 2 options for effects to 6 different combinations. Feindrel Staghelm also provides a boost to these cards, changing them from 2 flexible options to 1 powerful option. On previous episodes, I've given Blizzard grief for not exploring an idea thoroughly, but with the Choose One concept, they've actually been pretty diligent and creative. Still, what new Choose One effects have the custom card community come up with? For that, it's time for the normal, the weird, and the game-breaking. First up, we have Druid of the Dark. 5 mana 3/3, choose 1, transform into a 3/5 with charge, or a 6/3 with Wind Fury. It's only when I look at this card that I realize 2 things: how rare Wind Fury is, and how paranoid Blizzard is when it comes to giving Wind Fury to minions with high attack. With that in mind, a 5 mana 6/3 is frankly pathetic, dying to the average 2 mana spell. A 5 mana 3/5 with charge is likewise lacking, giving less than a Druid of the Claw's charge form. Both of these cards' forms are offensively focused, which limits the flexibility, but the potential output of an unchecked 6/3 with Wind Fury is intimidating to say the least. Altogether, this boils down to a semi-adequate card, perhaps a bit too weak to see play. Except for one thing. In Wild, Feindrel played on curve or at turn 9 would turn this into a 6/5 with both charge and Wind Fury. Yikes! However, I'm moderately okay with this. A deck running Feindrel is typically more combo or control oriented, while this card is aggressively focused. A combination of that caliber would be dangerous, but not game-breaking in comparison to some other combinations, especially since you need 1 control card and 1 aggressive card to be able to pull it off. Still, an important thing to keep in mind when judging these cards. Next up, we have Ancient Goblet. 4 mana 0/3 weapon, at the start of your turn, choose 1, gain an empty mana crystal, or draw a card. I'm sorry, did you want to play Nourish? Just play this instead. To be fair, this card is considerably more interesting and balanced than you might first expect. Firstly, the card does nothing when you first play it, leaving you open to tempo swings by your opponent. Secondly, you can only play mana on your turn, meaning that you don't get the benefits of the mana gain immediately. Third, you can only use the mana gain 3 times maximum, and that's if you coin out this card. Since mana wrapping is worth a lot less on turn 2 than on any later turns, this card eventually turns into a slower version of Elune. However, it's worth noting that at the late game, this card doesn't dig you into fatigue like Elune does. If you suspect you're overdrawing, you can just choose the mana gain instead, forfeiting the card draw this card could give you. That's fair and interesting. However, to address the elephant in the room, Twig of the World Tree. A low-cost weapon like this can be used to easily destroy the twig, potentially causing chaos. Once again, this combo is strong, but I don't think it's quite overpowered, at least not by Wild standards. Getting this combo done in the early game requires drawing 2 specific legendary cards, which RNG will make hard to pull off, and the late game requires playing this really slow card to activate it. 10 free mana, but you have to spend 8 mana on weak cards beforehand? That's actually fairly balanced. So in the end, both with combos and without, this card is weak if played wrong and strong if played right. That's pretty much what Choose One is all about. Finally, we have Scythe of Elune. 5 mana 0/3 weapon, whenever you play a Choose One card, choose 1. Cast Solar Eclipse or cast Lunar Eclipse. Solar Eclipse combines the effects like Feindrel does, while Lunar Eclipse doubles the effects. Okay, so no idea how Lunar Eclipse and Transform Choose Ones will work, so let's assume they don't. No matter, just Solar Eclipse those ones and create hybrid monstrosities like Feindrel does. But let's put all that aside for now. This card is just broken, guys. Firstly, if you're still scared of the Twig of the World tree, well, then this is better than that silly goblet. I won't beat a dead horse on that point. More importantly, this card provides a permanent Feindrel effect, assuming your opponent doesn't have weapon removal, more on that later. The only thing balanced about Feindrel is that he is temporary. The power he provides certain cards is absurd. This card takes that up a notch. Instead of choosing between 2 normal cards or playing 1 powerful card, you now have the choice between 2 powerful cards. That's the power boost of Feindrel coupled with the flexibility of choose 1. Together, horrific. However, this problem further fluctuates by being tied to a weapon. Giving a weapon this much power is dangerous, since there is only one way to counter it: tech cards. A weapon this horrifying would cause all decks to include weapon removal, which would devalue all other weapons in the game, except for maybe death rattle ones like our aforementioned Twig. For as good as choose 1 effects are, and as interesting as it is to buff these effects, you need to be careful. Where does this power go, and how can it be countered? Choose 1 by itself already offers a plethora of flexibility and intrigue. Choosing to buff that effect further in your design is something that requires a few careful choices. If you have an idea for a choose 1 card, send me a tweet. @PennilessPlayer, that's penniless with a Y, #choose-a-card. Intrigue me with these choices. Make me curious to try both ways of playing the card. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. 2 weeks ago, I asked you to tweet me for #discovering cards, and you guys went above and beyond with the submissions. However, there can only be one favorite, and that goes to Sky Eagle, who has won this competition before, so I tried to be a bit more critical. However, he gave us this beauty: Genie Smith. 2 mana 4/2, Battlecry, discover a weapon and equip it for your opponent. He does specify that the weapon should be for any class, though the exact rules for this card aren't the interesting part. The aggressive stat line partnered with the opponent getting the tools to counter that makes for a balanced card, but one that still has interesting uses. For example, simply playing this on turn 4 with an Acidic Swamp Ooze would be an excellent play. Or if you're lucky enough to discover a weapon like Cursed Blade in Wild, an aggressive strategy might be exactly what you need. Basically, this takes the idea of discovering a bad card for your opponent and puts it in a new direction, a direction that I like. Nicely done, Sky Eagle, but if you're really gonna have to impress to win this game again. If you want to see other Discover cards, or the new cards that come each week, visit my Twitter page to witness them firsthand. Remember to craft, critique, and have fun. Smile on the just, and I will see you all next time.